I don't know about you guys, but I am such a bookworm. I love a rainy day and getting cozy with a new book. I even love the smell of books. And of course, mystery or thrillers are my go to, but finding the time to sit down and actually read them, that's the real mystery. So, as much as I love the feel and smell of a good page turner, I also love Audible. You can listen to thousands of audiobooks, podcasts, and originals while doing literally anything. And the best part, your entire library goes with you. True crime, paranormal deep dives, thrillers, memoirs, whatever your brain may be craving, Audible probably has it. Start listening today by grabbing your free Audible trial through the link in my show notes. With an Audible membership, you get 1 credit every month to download any audiobook you want to keep for free, plus unlimited listening to thousands of podcasts and Audible originals with Audible Standard. So whether you're driving, cleaning, walking the dog, cooking dinner, or spiraling down a late night true crime rabbit hole again, your next story can go with you. Start a free trial today, download the Audible app, and begin listening in minutes. Just check the link in my show notes to get started. Your next obsession is waiting. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is Suspects and Spirits, and I'm your host, Taylor Seraphin. And spooky season is officially upon us. And all you fun sponges out there soaking up my spooky fun, let me have my summer ween. I went to Walmart and I saw fucking Christmas decor already. Yes, sorry, we are joined today by Brandon Lawrence. He said sinful and foolish. That is right. I saw Christmas decor already out and about in the back section by the garden supplies. Y'all are wild for that. And I'm not hating on Christmas. Okay, I love Christmas, love the holidays, period. End of story. It's just that everyone knows that July 4th, summer, okay, America, and then July 5th, Halloween. It's Halloween. This is just a well known fact, okay? I actually started referring to the start of the school year as Ogtober, like AUG-tober, and it either pisses people off or they think it's funny because they're not a fun sucker. I personally will be enjoying all the spooky things that life has to offer. I saw that our closest Spirit Halloween is getting a new location or building, I should say. Same area, new building, and it's much larger. So I'm fucking ready. He said, interesting. Also, if you're new here, I'm so sorry. Brandon Lawrence, I named him Lawrence just for shits and giggles. And then he told me his name is Brandon. So now it's a thing. But he's my house ghost. He's my resident ghost. So sometimes I have him join in on the conversation, just occasionally, usually on like a spooky episode, not a true crime one. That would be inappropriate. But he's been trying to get my attention lately. And so I decided to let him join today's episode because he's been bothering me. So that's what that voice is, if you're wondering. Anyways, spooky season. Walked into Target the other day too and saw that the whole dollar section already had a few little Halloween items. So excited for that. TJ Maxx had a whole setup right when you walk in. It was beautiful. There were also the cutest spooky pillows and blankets. So go get you one. I did not because I'm broke. Hashtag teacher. But I will be getting things here and there. I can't wait. I'm already thinking of costumes. I love costumes. I fucking love Halloween. I just want it to be Halloween so bad. But it's always Halloween in my soul. So let me know what you guys think I should be. What should David and I do a couple's costume? We had planned on it last year and then just couldn't get our shit together. So we did not, but we should be, right? What should I be? What are you guys going to be? Anyone else thinking about their costumes? Anyone else? It's honestly what's getting me through these next few weeks of going back to work. Well, that and then knowing that I'm just weeks away from seeing MCR in real life. In real life, you guys. And then Haley again later on in October. So really excited about that. I'm going to fucking throw up. I wish I was like that nonchalant, cool, unbothered girl, but that'll never be me. I will always geek the fuck out. I might pee my pants and cry and throw up all at the same time. Yeah, very familiar. Because much like when I saw Haley for the first time, I have also been waiting like 21 years to see MCR. So it's finally happening. It's finally happening, you guys. It wasn't a phase, Mom. I have been looking for a good outfit, but I don't know. I might end up just making my own shirt. It's not that I don't like the ones that I see. I have ideas, and I want to put them on a shirt. So anyway, I have to tell you guys about our topic, huh? Today, we are going to be talking about a very spooky place, a tunnel, actually, which tunnels are already pretty creepy on their own. And some of that can be just chalked up to like the echoes inside, the darkness, our eyes not really being able to adjust properly, and then sort of conjuring things up in our minds. But every now and then, there are places where the explanations don't seem quite so simple. Places where people who've never met describe the same figure, the same sounds, the same uneasy feeling that someone is standing just out of sight. And today, we're going to head to one of those places, and that is the Moonville Tunnel in Ohio. So let's set the scene, shall we?
I'm following you.
He's following me, you guys. Are you behind me right now? I felt a little breeze. I would prefer if you didn't get that close. Don't get that close to me. Okay, let's get started. Hidden inside what is now Zaleski State Forest in Vinton County, Ohio, about 30 minutes from Athens and roughly an hour southeast of Columbus, sits a lonely brick tunnel tucked away beneath a canopy of towering trees. Today, it's part of the Moonville Rail Trail, and if you want to visit, you can. It's actually a fairly easy hike. Well, maybe for hikers. I don't think 10 miles is easy, but to each their own. During the day, it's said to be very peaceful and beautiful. And looking at pictures, it truly is gorgeous. The Zaleski State Forest is absolutely breathtaking. And that little trail that you walk down winds through these rolling hills and dense forests. And unless you knew the history, you'd probably think it was just another scenic hiking path until you reach the tunnel. Now, this tunnel we're talking about today, it's only about 250 feet long, not super big. But visitors say it's very quiet in a way that feels almost unnatural. The opening to this tunnel swallows the sunlight, and for just a moment, your brain does that thing that all of ours do in the dark. It starts wondering what's hiding just beyond what you can't see. But here at the Moonville Tunnel, it is not just your imagination. And knowing what happened at this location makes it feel even scarier. Long before ghost hunters and paranormal investigators began making the trip, Moonville was a real community. It wasn't large at all. At its peak, there was actually only around 100 people in it that called it home. But for those families, this tiny railroad town was everything. Moonville actually existed because of the Marietta and Cincinnati Railroad, which pushed through the region in 1857. Coal miners, lumber workers, railroad employees, and their families settled in the valley, relying on the railroad for nearly every aspect of daily life. It brought jobs, supplies, mail, and passengers into an area that was otherwise incredibly isolated. But the railroad wasn't just the town's lifeline, it was also its greatest danger. This wasn't a modern railway with multiple tracks and sophisticated communication systems, right? It was 1800s. So it was a single track railroad winding through steep Appalachian hills, sharp curves, and dense forests. Dispatchers had to very carefully coordinate trains traveling in opposite directions because there's simply no room for error. That would be catastrophic. And for the people who lived in Moonville, the tracks doubled as the town's main road. There were very few proper roads connecting these isolated communities, so residents often walked directly along the railroad tracks to visit neighbors, get to work, or travel to nearby towns, which gives me hives because imagine hearing a steam locomotive only seconds before it rounded a blind curve. That's an actual death wish, and we wonder why people didn't live long then. I mean, part of it is lack of modern medicine, childbirth, and I don't know, arsenic being in everything. And
David.
that's my husband's name. He's not here right now. David's at work. I'll tell him you said hi. Anywho, like I was saying, this railroad area was an actual death trap. And over the decades, it is said that over 27 people lost their lives somewhere along the Moonville line, which, considering that their population was only like 100 people, is a lot. And included in those fatalities were railroad workers, engineers, conductors, and even local residents. Revolting. Yeah, it's pretty gross. Some died in workplace accidents, and others were struck while walking the tracks they depended on every single day. So, this was unfortunately pretty common in Moonville. But then, on November 4th of 1880, tragedy struck, and this time on a much, much larger scale. On that day, two freight trains entered the same stretch of single track near Moonville after a breakdown in communication, and they ended up in a head on collision. The engineer, Theodore Lawhead, sometimes identified in historical records as Frank, and a fireman named Charles Crick were both killed, while several others suffered very serious life threatening injuries. And the newspaper reports blamed the disaster on a dispatching error. It was exactly the kind of accident that railroad workers feared the most, and it became one of the defining tragedies in Moonville's history, adding yet another layer of lore to its haunting appearance. Unfortunately, as the years passed, this town slowly faded away. The mines closed down, families moved away, businesses disappeared, and by 1947, the last residents had left. When the railroad itself was abandoned in 1988, the tracks were eventually removed. And today, all that remains of the settlement are a few building foundations, the Moonville Cemetery, and the famous abandoned Moonville Tunnel. Because of its remote forested location and the tragic history of workers dying on the adjacent railway lines, the Moonville Tunnel is deeply tied to regional folklore and is highly regarded as one of the most haunted places in the Midwest. And Moonville is by all means a ghost town, but its tunnel is where the stories really begin. Stories of apparitions, strange noises, phantom footsteps, and ghostly lanterns. And due to its very tragic past, Moonville's most famous ghost was already making newspaper headlines before the 20th century had even begun, when in 1895, newspaper accounts described numerous railroad crews encountering a mysterious figure near the site of that fatal head-on train collision, which just so happened to be the Moonville Tunnel. According to the article, those who witnessed this mysterious apparition described it as a man in white, carrying a lantern with a beard and glowing eyes. Whether the reporter who wrote this story actually believed it or was simply just documenting local rumors, we don't know. But one thing is certain, and that is that by 1895, people were already talking about the Lantern Man. And now, more than 130 years later, they're still talking about him. And I am going to be talking about 4 ghostly legends here.
There's 4.
I just said that.
Come here.
No, I'm not going to come here. I'm working. He is so needy today. So, as I was saying, the Lantern Man is one of the ghosts that we're going to be talking about. And people can't really agree on exactly who this is. He's very mysterious. And we love that.
Come here.
No, stop saying come here. I'm going to need you to stop calling me over. Okay, boundaries. Boundaries, Brandon. No means no.
The grave.
The grave. Come to the grave. You want me to come to the grave? I'm not ready to die yet, but thank you. All right. So some believe that this phantom lantern carrier is the engineer that we spoke about before, Theodore Lawhead, aka Frank, who we had mentioned died on the train during the collision.
Harold.
Harold. He's just naming off so many fucking names today. Earlier he told me Vincent. You said my husband's name David. I don't know a Harold or a Vincent, I don't think.
I'm not sure how.
I'm not sure how either. I'm very confused right now. So, as I was saying, some believe that this lantern carrier is the engineer Theodore Lawhead, aka Frank, who, as we mentioned before, died on the train during the collision. The legend says that ever since this fatal crash, his ghostly figure can be seen swinging a lantern along the tracks, trying desperately to stop the trains to avoid another tragedy. It said that when the railroad was still running, his ghost would pop up along the tunnel and frighten the engineers. This continued long into the 1980s, just before the railroad came to an end. But still, some claim to see him walking along the tunnel with his lantern, endlessly searching for trains he can stop. Sometimes staring at screens all day can make your eyes feel like they are actually on fire. And let's face it, in today's world, a lot of what we do requires staring at a screen, which is already horrible for your eyes. I actually went to the eye doctor recently and he was like, wow, I didn't think it was possible, but your vision has gotten worse. Rude, but true. So, of course, he started asking me all the normal questions about headaches and screen time, like I'm a toddler whose parents don't monitor how many episodes of Bluey they consume. And I'm explaining my daily life, lesson planning, entering grades, researching cases, recording episodes, editing episodes, dog videos, more dog videos. And he's like, Yeah, you need a new prescription and you should probably invest in some blue light blocker glasses. Now, since I am a contact lens girly and always have been, I did not want to pay the extra price for blue light glasses that I would never wear. So I did what we all do. I went to Amazon, and that's where I found Any Love blue light glasses, which have really helped me on my not wanting my eyes to feel like they're on fire journey. In fact, I'm wearing them right now. So if your eyeballs are also filing a formal complaint and possibly your eye doctor too, head to my link in the show notes and grab yourself some Any Love glasses. They have tons of different styles for men and women. They're honestly super cute, and they even come with a nice little case. Save your eyes some stress and go grab a pair, or two, or five, because your eyeballs deserve it. True Crime Coven, Gooligans, before we get back into this case, I need to talk to you about something equally as addictive as true crime, but like way less illegal. And that is Deutsch cookie dough. And no, I'm not talking about sneaking bites and wondering if you're about to contract salmonella. This is 100% safe, edible cookie dough. Eat the whole container. I support you. I support snacks of all kinds. But this is the snack of all snacks. And you guys know me, I love food. Deutsch is like my own little personal tub of therapy. Having a bad day? Have some Deutsch. Feeling a little sad? Have some Deutsch. Babe, you're not sad. You just need cookie dough. And it's also top 5 allergen friendly, which is fantastic news. Not that I have allergies to any of those things, but if you do, you can eat it. And y'all, it is just as much fun to say as it is to eat, I promise. And you don't have to eat it raw. You can bake it. It's cookie dough. There are directions on the tub. So if you feel a crash out coming on, skip the bad decisions. Don't do that. Grab the cookie dough instead and use my code SPIRITS20 to get 20% off your purchase. Link is in the show notes to get started on your new snacking obsession. I promise you won't regret it. I've already eaten 4 tubs today. All right, stay safe and stay snacky. Others, though, believe that the Lantern Man could be an old brakeman. According to the Moonville town legends, there was a young brakeman who was about 20 years old, and he had actually been drinking one evening and laid down to rest, but didn't realize that he had made a bed on the railroad tracks. So when a train came through during the night, he was unfortunately run over. Yeah, it is. It's dark at nighttime. You are correct. I'm talking about night. So, yes, a very tragic ending for this young man. So, some think that he's the Lantern Man, while others believe the brakeman is just one of many ghosts that haunt the tunnel. And the identity changes kind of depending on who's telling the story, but the lantern never does. It is the most consistent thing about this ghost. And in my research, I came across a really interesting summary from the Vinton County Visitors Bureau, which notes that many visitors describe remarkably similar experiences. According to them, witnesses often report seeing a man with a white beard carrying a glowing lantern, and some have even claimed to hear a blood curdling scream as they walk along the tunnel. Many visitors have continued adding their own stories to the legends. One Reddit user described hiking toward the tunnel with his friends and wrote, quote, "Walking up, everyone just had that uneasy feeling that something was off. At one point, I heard a growl come from the end of the tunnel." End quote. This Redditor then added that the people standing nearby reacted at the same moment that they did. Like they all heard the growl at the same time, and it was not an animal growl. It was a very deep, guttural sound. And later, after reviewing audio that they had recorded that evening, they believed they heard something say, "Get out." But of course, there are the skeptics, because aren't there always, who said that it could have been wildlife. But if that's true, any wild animal growling at me saying, "Get out," is also very concerning. I think we can probably agree on that. Could it have been audio distortion? Perhaps. That's always a possibility. But whether the explanation was paranormal or perfectly ordinary, it's easy to understand why that experience stayed with them, because it's fucking scary. And the Lantern Man isn't the tunnel's only alleged resident. Like I said, there are 4 of them. Another legend that we know of at the Moonville Tunnel tells of what has become known as the Lavender Lady. Visitors have reported seeing an elderly woman walking quietly along the trail before she just disappears. Others say that they suddenly smell lavender drifting through the woods despite there being no lavender flowers or fields nearby. Local folklore connects her to a woman who supposedly died near the railroad back in the 1800s, though historians haven't really been able to identify a specific person behind this story just yet. But since it's well known that nearly 30 people lost their lives just walking along those tracks, it's not really out of the realm of possibility. Another visitor, talking about the Moonville Tunnel, said, quote, "We never saw any of the lights in the tunnel, but have all had spooky feelings when walking around at night." End quote. They went on to describe feeling a very strange gust of wind that moved through the group without disturbing the surrounding trees. So they were not inside the tunnel, but they were near it, and then a gust of wind blew past them, but not through the trees, which is very bizarre. It's one of those experiences that's really difficult to explain and just as difficult to prove. I do, though, love the idea of a ghost that smells like lavender. Way better than those nasty ass egg fart demons, you know? We don't want to smell sulfur if you're haunting us. Let us know with some lavender, maybe jasmine, chamomile. It's up to you, but stop at the sulfur. I just personally, if I were a demon, I wouldn't choose bad eggs to be the smell associated with me. Holy shit, guys, he just said tunnel. Did you hear that? Yes, I'm talking about a tunnel, and there are spirits in this tunnel. Brandon Lawrence, have you heard of
It makes no sense.
it makes no sense? Do you not understand what I mean by tunnel? A train used to pass through it, and people got hurt on the railroad, and so they died, and now their spirits are there still. Anyway, where was I? You got me off topic. I think I was talking about how I don't want these ghosts smelling like bad eggs. You know, if I was a demon, I would not want to be associated with that because everyone would just think you're farting.
Filthy.
That's right. It is filthy. I don't want no nasty ass sulfur demons. I want a lavender ghosty.
All right.
All right. Are you going to smell like lavender now, Brandon Lawrence? That'd be great. All right. So the lavender lady is one of the ghosts. And then there is another. And this one I'm not really a fan of, but he has a name. And his name is Baldy Catton. I think it's Catton, Katon. Catton. Caton. Anyways, his name's Baldy, and according to local folklore, Baldy was known as the town bully, which, I mean, I feel like you name your kid Baldy, he's gonna be a bully. Because why the fuck would you name him that? But, Baldy here, he was known to be a local barroom brawler. He was a brawler, and he actually was murdered near the tracks. So some say that his ghost reportedly lurks in the woods above the tunnel. So he walks.
What will happen?
I'm telling you, if you let me tell the story and you stop interrupting me, you'll find out what happens, Brandon. Patience. Okay. So he walks along the top of the tunnel and sometimes he throws rocks at people, which is rude. We don't need to throw rocks. Visitors occasionally report hearing rocks tumble from the hillside or pebbles striking the tunnel, like somebody is throwing them, even when no one else appears to be nearby. So that's Baldy. That's all we really know about him. And another thing that people claim to hear often while visiting this tunnel is splashing. One visitor actually recalled hearing loud splashes coming from a nearby pond after dark and admitted, quote, "Leave here." Yeah, yeah. They said, quote, "I don't think I've ever run that fast in my life." So, yeah, Brandon, leave here is what they said. And I don't blame them because they were convinced that they'd narrowly escaped something terrifying. And so they decided that they were going to return during the daylight to investigate, which is when they spotted beavers. Yeah, just your friendly neighborhood beaver. But this does remind me of the Braley Pond episode I did where they heard splashing, but they couldn't see any beavers. And it was not, they said it didn't sound like a beaver. It sounded like human footsteps and like a person who was flailing in the water. So you never know. Could be a beaver, could be a pond demon. And not every experience in this tunnel is so easily explained by beaver tails. Members of the Ohio Exploration Society have investigated Moonville numerous times over the years, And during one investigation, they reported, quote,
Are you recording?
did you guys hear that? Yes, I'm recording. He always asks that question. I told you, remember? When I turned this on, I said, hey, I'm going to be recording an episode. You can chime in, but be respectful.
You're back.
Yep, you're back too. Here we are, just two ghoul friends. So, anyways, during one of the investigations for the Ohio Exploration Society, they said, quote, one of our members actually witnessed the ghostly lantern for himself, while others saw a dark, shadowy figure standing at the west end of the tunnel, end quote. They also claimed to capture an electronic voice phenomenon, so EVP, in which a voice appeared to say, I got you. I know that one's a little spooky. But perhaps their most unsettling report came when investigators described hearing, quote, very distinct footsteps, walked to the middle of the gravel rail bed, and began sprinting directly toward the group, end quote. Ooh, I hate that. Any kind of sprinting footsteps toward me that I cannot see. No, I will also be sprinting and probably peeing my pants, but that's just me. And whether you believe those experiences represent paranormal activity or just, the strange acoustics of an old railroad tunnel is entirely up to you. But at the end of the day, we do know that people really did outside. Do I need to look outside? Those are just crows. They come here every day. What's up, guys? We have some cute little crows that like to hang out in our yard. I feel honored. I'm so honored that the crows choose our yard. Wooden. Like where they're sitting is wooden. Yeah, they're sitting on our planter that David built, which is a wooden bench planter thing. But yeah, we get some big ass crows out here. They're really cool. My youngest, well, she'll see them out in the yard and she'll be like, Mom, look, Maleficent, which is so cute. So yeah, we love the crows and they love us. We like to leave them shiny things or just like little treats. Crows are cool. We love a murder. But yeah, about this tunnel, you can believe whatever you want. I mean, I'm never here to tell you guys what to think, but I think that this story is fascinating because we do know that people built a life in Moonville and that those tracks were used every single day. And unfortunately, people did lose their lives in or near this tunnel. And over the last century and a half, those tragedies have slowly transformed into folklore and legends, and eventually, one of Ohio's most famous haunted locations. Maybe the Lantern Man is nothing more than a story passed down from one generation to the next. Maybe every strange sound has a perfectly ordinary explanation. Or maybe every once in a while, someone really does catch the faint glow of a lantern moving through the darkness. Either way, if you ever find yourself hiking the Moonville Rail Trail as the sun begins to set, remember this. The tunnel itself is only about 250 feet long, but for some people, it feels much, much longer because they're dead and they can't leave. So, do I think it's haunted? Yes. I think anywhere where traumatic things have happened will hold energy, and sometimes that energy turns into a residual haunting. And that, my friends, is the story of the Moonville Tunnel in Ohio. Not a super long one today, but I really love the idea of a haunted tunnel, and there are a lot. In my research, I came across a lot, but I would just like to say, damn, Ohio, you guys got some crazy shit out there. What is up with Ohio? I know I've said this before, but I genuinely want to know. I need to go there and find out. Because I swear, every time I go to research haunted places, Ohio is like top of the list every time. So Ohio is for lovers and also for spooky shit. My elder emos will get that. You guys remember Hawthorne Heights? Cause my heart is in Ohio. Cut my wrist and black my eyes. Dude, what were we listening to? I had no business listening to that in the fifth grade. The actual fucking fifth grade. But you know what? I did. And I'm still an emo kid. So I love that for me. I don't I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I'm so tired. I slept like crap last night. I actually have not slept well since I got back from Florida. This Mercury retrograde is fucking with me so bad. So bad. Fucking with my sleep, fucking with my mood, everything. So, not cool. I know some people are like, you can't blame the planets on your mood. You know what, Chad? Shut up. Yes, I can. If you can blame women for your loneliness, I can blame Mercury for my bad luck. Okay? Sorry, I need to wrap this up. All right. Thank you guys for listening. Love you, spooky nerds. Be good humans. Let me know if you've ever been to any haunted tunnels. And as always, remember to trust your lizard brain. Until next time, goodbye.
Why is he?
God damn it, Brandon.